Hi friends, it's me Jenna from the White Witch Parlor, and I just want to talk about the art of gazing and crystal balls. So many of you love the aesthetic of a crystal ball, and they are quite beautiful. They reflect light, they give off a different perspective of what is going on around you. They get you lost in a hypnotized state. And they definitely have something to teach us because we perceive things very flat often. But this reminds us that there's so much more going on in the spirit realm and in our physical realm. So the art of gazing is an ancient practice, and it definitely is one of my favorite things to do because you might remember doing this as a kid without even knowing it. You would gaze into a flame, or you would gaze into a puddle of water, and there was something that always kind of, you just got lost in. It was like this hypnotized state. It was your subconscious just took over, and you could sit there for minutes, which is hard for a child to do, and just be in a trance. And so this energy is actually a really powerful energy. It's the same trance type state that we go in when we sleep. So it's actually a meditative state that it allows us to take on. And so with crystal balls, usually, and I offer these on my website as well, the link will be in the description below, but crystal balls are usually infused with clear quartz. And clear quartz crystal balls have a more opaque nature, and it will be hard for you to see this, but there's a lot going on in a crystal ball. You can see all kinds of formations and etchings, natural things happening. There's like multiple little channels that you can see through it. But when you have a clear crystal ball, you can let yourself see something. So you can't as much do it here. It's almost a distraction. But then this, you can kind of just get hypnotized all on its own. So this gets infused into this, and so with now clear quartz we have a energy transmitter, and so this energy generator actually can help you to manifest stuff. So now if we work with flame energy and fire energy with candles, we can almost hypnotize ourselves. So usually with a scrying ball or a gazing ball like this, what you can do is you can have a flame nearby, and it will illuminate just enough light so that we can let the rest fall off, and we can focus on one point. And by focusing, it allows you to drift. And if you're trying to channel the spirit realm or any spirits and energies, then you allow yourself to use this as a portal. So this is kind of like a mirror, and in the Victorian era, mirrors and scrying mirrors were so seen as a portal that when people would pass and they'd be on their deathbed in the home and they were about to pass, the family would go around and cover up all the mirrors. So like the one I have behind me, they would cover them with some black fabric because they were worried that the soul would get lost in the portal of the mirror. So that's why when you see seances, they often have a crystal ball in the middle, because it is a portal. It moves light, it shifts colors, it gets you in a trance. So it allows you to drift between the worlds a little bit better. And then it changes our perspective on things. So if you were to lay this flat on the ground outside, it would definitely change the perception of how you see your world. It shifts things, it changes them, so it creates a portal into a whole nother dimension. And some might see it and say, oh, it just looks like a glass ball, but it can be so much more than that, because tools are often just an item, but they become so much more when not only do we give them purpose, so we fuel them with energy, but we let them kind of speak to us. So something so mundane can become so powerful. And something like a gazing ball does just that. And you can do the same with like a bird bath that has a little bit of water in it. You'll notice it becomes a reflective surface, and it's a very cool tool to use. So when you go to work with a crystal ball, you usually want to focus all your energy and intent on one point of light, which is usually the flame of a candle, and you want to work in a dark room so that there's no distractions. You usually want to set a boundary for what kind of spirits are coming through if you're working with a seance. And you by no means want to work if you're working out of a state of fear. So if you feel like you're not sure what you're doing, or you feel nervous, or you don't actually have a very good question to ask, or you're not actually doing anything just for the sake of trying to find amusement and seeing what happens, it's probably not the best thing to practice or try. But if you're working with true intent, true heart and passion, and you truly are trying to dive deeper into your own spiritual self and grow and find better enlightenment, then you definitely want to work with that intent and work with the gazing ball. So often you might come across a gazing ball in a garden, and people did this in their crops and gardens because if they're growing little herbs around their house or a tomato plant, they wanted to ward off evil and bring good luck to them. So it was strongly believed that that's what this worked for. So gazing ball, because they set their intention and they brought forth angelic energies through the ball, it was said to watch over. So it's almost like an eye, keeping an eye over everything. It was also bringing in light and shifting it everywhere. So that's why now we use them as decorative tools in our gardens without thinking about them, just because they look pretty. But they actually do serve a purpose, again, if you allow it to have that purpose. Some gazing balls may not be clear, and they might have a mosaic pattern around them, and those aren't the ones that I'm necessarily talking about. I'm talking about the ones that maybe just have color, blue or purple, or even a red one sometimes, or just clear. And the way they diffuse the sunlight, they basically act as that portal so that the energies can be called forth and watch over your gardens and your crops. If you have small little crop in the backyard, maybe you're growing potatoes or corn, it will help with that. So it's a really unique way to keep protection over your garden as well. Gazing balls were created many centuries ago, and it was said that it brought such good luck that even the kings and queens and monarchs would be interested in having them. But back then they were made of hand-blown glass, and so this glass was so beautifully pristine, and it was a very hard craft to conquer. So only the wealthiest of people could obtain these. Funny enough, these gazing balls sometimes were referred to protective balls, and they were meant to ward off witches. But at the time, many associated witches with dark demonic forces that would take over the family and make people sick. And so quite the opposite. Most witches were just working with herbalism and learning to heal the sick through the power of nature. But because it does reflect and give off so much light, it is a beautiful way to raise the vibration in a room, because it draws in light and it emits it everywhere. So that energy back then was also used to create a higher energy so that people could heal. So whenever people were falling sick in a house, they usually would call upon a local artisan to make a glass ball for them so they could put it in their garden or put it near their door, and they could have this light energy emitting all over the place. And because it's in the form of a sphere, it definitely pulls energy and directs energy all directions. There is no right, left, up, or down. It's just everywhere at all times. It was said that when used in meditation, it might help you to connect with the all source because of the light it emits from it. Some say that when infused with crystal quartz energy, it can give you the meaning of life. It can make you better connected to life force energy and just one with light energy. Overall, the superstition with gazing balls and seance crystal balls has changed. During the 20s, it was a really popular item, and then it kind of phased out, and now it's becoming popular again because people are reconnecting and refinding the energy that it gives and what it does to a space. And when you learn to work with these tools, how it shifts your life and your perception on what life is and what this reality is and what this physical existence is all about, because simple tools that we tend to overlook can become so powerful. And so something as simple as a glass ball can just change your perception completely on the way we live our lives. And it will teach you to live life with more purpose and more meaning, because at some point we all have to go. And knowing that this is a portal to something beyond our imaginations allows us to tap into something deeper within our own soul and our own growth. So it kind of reminds us to keep living with such a passion and such a positive energy that we are happy. And when we can leave this world, we know that we can still kind of keep an eye on things, because nothing ever dies. Energy keeps moving and it never fades away. So I hope you guys like this little bit of information about gazing balls and crystal balls and why we use them during seance. These portals are really beautiful, and if you ever hold a seance with a crystal ball in the center, you will notice that there's definitely a shift of energy happening in the room. And you just want to make sure that you put some ground rules on what kind of energy is coming through. And you do that with the own energy that you emit, but also the intentions that you're setting. And you can also do a little bit of spell casting ahead of time to cast a circle and of protection and just bring that good energy into your space. So I love you guys so much. If you enjoy this video, you can give it a thumbs up. You can subscribe for more. And I'll see you over on all my social media, Facebook and Instagram pages. Love you. Have a wonderful day.